I swear. My videos about agnostics get almost as much attention as videos I make on controversial topics, like I brought up eugenics one time, which is still one of my most popular videos. There was another thing where I addressed the Khazar anti-Semitic propaganda crap to try to illegitimize the foundation of Israel. It's racist BS, man. Anyway, that one, because of the controversial nature, is also one of the most popular ones. So, and then on the ones where I'm talking about agnostics or issues I have with people who call themselves agnostics, I get like a litany of back and forth argumentation, and the agnostics saying they're going to school me and that I'm being illogical and blah blah blah. It's the same crap over and over again. Alright, more recently, which was it? There was a user by the name of winocologist. Okay, winocologist commented on, I think, my agnostics, OMG, DQ, BBQ, and another one, I think, the one where I do a slideshow of all the pictures of different gods. I forget what I call it now. It's not important. Here we go. Winocologist, thank you very much. One day I'll manage to introduce you to basic logic, Kalen, I swear. Thanks. Thanks for that. My rude paraphrase of you to Soterios. Here we go. Paraphrasing me. You based your idea on Yahweh. Claimed evidencelessly your idea is likelier than Yahweh, so your idea is intellectually dishonest. Thanks, I appreciate that. And then actually brings up 3 points, real points, as opposed to just being rude. Neither fiction-based nor lack of support proves intellectual dishonesty. Okay. 2. Intellectually dishonest doesn't mean untrue or unlikely. I'll address this one specifically. No, it doesn't mean untrue or unlikely, and it doesn't mean true or likely either. It's useless in logic. If you're trying to determine something based on logical steps, using something or using a method that's intellectually dishonest immediately invalidates the argument. So why bother? It's wasting your time. And 3, can you really deny that any sort of consciousness behind the universe is likelier than Yahweh? No, you can create a mental construct that is, by definition, more likely than a specific God with specific properties. But how useful is that? Is that thing real? I mean, to say that, well, the flying spaghetti monster and the celestial teapot, the unicorn that is both invisible and pink at the same time, this kind of stuff, by definition, is more likely, right? Because it defines itself out of provability, right? But the people who make up these ideas come right out and say, I made this up. And yet it's just as provable or disprovable as this God concept that you're actually really concerning yourself with. That's the point. How useful is it? You're fooling yourself, but you're making something up and trying to convince yourself that you're not making it up. It doesn't matter if it's... I'm beating a dead horse. Alright, my response to his comment. Rude is right, when I'm talking about his rude paraphrase. I particularly like the imparted regional accent as a means of denoting ignorance and stupidity. Of course, he responds, Ya and your, sorry, I'm not doing that with the appropriate accent, are neither insults nor an imparted, bracket, sick, bracket, what is this, an English paper? Regional accent. Just an aid to fitting everything into one little comment box. I see how that's useful. And by, alright, fine, let's nitpick. Alright, sick. What is the purpose of using sick? Sick is a Latin word meaning thus, so, as such, or in such a manner, In writing, it is placed within square brackets and usually italicized to indicate that an incorrect or unusual spelling, phrase, punctuation, and or other preceding quoted material has been reproduced verbatim from the quoted original and is not a transcription error. Alright, so what problem did you have with what I wrote? It was the word imparted. Well, I don't regularly consult a thesaurus while posting little comments on YouTube, so I may in fact have used that term incorrectly, but in order to, further educate myself, let's investigate the matter. Did I use it incorrectly? Impart. Imparted being a valid form of impart. To make known, tell, relate, disclose, to give, bestow. Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. You attributed a regional accent to me, which I don't have. You have given it to me. You have bestowed it upon me. Imparted. That's correct. But that's nitpicky stuff. We don't have to worry about that. Alright, so I've discussed the subject a couple of times, right? I think I've made my points clear, but if you're not listening to me, let's consult somebody who's actually more learned. Let's consult somebody who wrote a lot on this subject of agnostic and atheist. Let's reference something. Maybe make my point a little bit more clear. Let's refer to Bertrand Russell, who wrote prolifically on this subject. In 1947, he published a pamphlet. I don't know what kind of criteria would dictate a pamphlet as opposed to a brochure. Doesn't matter. But anyway, entitled, Am I an Atheist or an Agnostic? This is exactly the subject we're talking about here. Alright, 1947, by a very smart guy. Now, let's see what he has to say. Quote, As a philosopher, if I was speaking to a purely philosophic audience, I should say that I ought to describe myself as an agnostic, because I do not think that there is a conclusive argument by which one can prove that there is not a God. On the other hand, if I am to convey the right impression to the ordinary man in the street, I think I ought to say that I am an atheist, because when I say that I cannot prove that there is not a God, I ought to add equally that I cannot prove that there are not the Homeric gods. See, he's referring to the Greek gods in the same way that he's referring to any other god, right? Back in 1947, this is the same stuff we've heard again and again and again. And I think Bertrand Russell probably made the point a little better than I did. That's fine, he's probably a lot smarter than me. So this is a guy who, I think, basically considered himself an agnostic for philosophical reasons, right? Without knowledge. Agnostic. That's fine, alright? I am agnostic. I am without knowledge about a great many things. But that has nothing to do with what I actively believe. Atheist is such a vacuous term. A, without. Theist. One who believes in a deity, right? I am not one who believes in a deity. I don't actively believe in something, therefore, I don't believe in it, right? Not that I believe there is not, which is a positive claim. I do not believe, right? Show me. I don't see it. Therefore, I don't have that belief, that positive belief yet. Same points over and over and over again. This is why it gets me so irritated. It's alright. I think I'll make a supplement to this with circle diagrams. Why not?